Namaste YouTube Yogis, welcome to the second class in our Spring into Flexibility series. Today we're going to be doing a nice hamstring flexibility flow for anyone that's been interested in building their hamstring flexibility for either splits or just for being able to bend down and touch your toes. This is a great class for that. So we're going to start standing at the top of our mat with our palms out, facing out in front of us. Starting to establish that Ujjayi breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, directing the breath through the throat in a cat-like purring way. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let your intention for class today be to let everything else go that you might be thinking of, that might be building tension in your body, allowing your muscles to relax into these poses and stretches. On our next inhale, arms up, reach up, lengthen up. And exhale, we'll slowly dive to fold, grabbing a hold of opposite elbows. We'll take this passive forward fold, allowing the back to just open and fall completely to the obedience of gravity. Just let your shoulders relax, letting your entire spine relax. Option to sway from side to side if that helps loosen you up a little bit. Continuing to breathe. And then we'll take an inhale to halfway lift, flat back. And on the exhale, you'll bend through the left knee, straighten out through the right, keeping the left fingertips or the palm on the mat as you reach up to twist open to the ceiling with that right arm, feeling a really nice posterior stretch throughout the entire right leg. Once again, breathing. And exhale, coming back down. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, bending through that right knee as you twist open with the left, straightening out through the left leg and feeling that same stretch on the left side. And exhale, back down. This time, take your full forward fold, hands planted onto the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. And on the exhale, step back into plank. We'll take our knees, chest, chin here for one round. So inhale to shift forward, bringing the knees down. And slowly exhale to lower the chest through the elbows, grazing along the body. Straighten out through the hips. Inhale, lift through the shoulder blades, coming into a low cobra pose. And exhale, pressing back up through tabletop and coming into our first downward dog. Walk out your dog here, warming up the legs, especially the backs of the legs. Downward dog in of itself is a great hamstring and posterior chain stretch. Option if your hamstrings are so tight, your hamstrings or your calves are so tight that you can't bring your heels onto the mat, bend deeply through the knees, bringing the belly on to rest on the thighs, and then slowly start to straighten the legs. Inhale, inhale, lift heels, bend knees. Exhale, step to the top of the mat. Halfway lift to gaze forward. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up, reach up, lengthen up. And exhale, take it straight back down into our forward fold here. Inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, step back with the left leg, coming into a runner's lunge, bending in deeply through that front knee. And we'll slowly start to oscillate between a lunge and straightening that front leg, bringing the toes up off the mat, and then bringing that back heel onto the mat. Just warming up through the hip and the hamstring. Take 2 more for a total of 5. Inhale to come back through that runner's lunge, and exhale, stepping through plank, this time taking chaturanga if it's in your practice, or knees, chest, chin. Inhale to upward dog or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees. Exhale, step the left foot followed by the right foot to the top of the mat, halfway lifts, flat back, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up, reach up, lengthen up. And exhale, dive it back down into that forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, gaze forward. Exhale, step the right foot back this time, bending deeply through runner's lunge on the left side. And slowly start to take those oscillations between straight and bent through that front knee, bringing that back heel closer to the mat as you lift the front toes, warming up the lower body here. Last 2. And 1. Coming back through runner's lunge on an inhale. And exhale, stepping back through plank, lowering knees, chest, chin, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees. Exhale, step, hop, or lightly land at the top of the mat, halfway lift to gaze forward. And exhale, forward fold. On our next inhale, sit back through the heels, bending through the knees to sit into that imaginary chair, engaging the belly button towards the spine, lifting the arms straight out in front of you. And exhale, dive it back down. Inhale, halfway lift to gaze forward. Exhale, step or jump directly through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's get into our hamstring flow. Inhale to lift the right leg up. And exhale, knee to nose, stepping the right foot up to the top of the mat, pivoting the back heel onto the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, or inhale, lifting up through our warrior 1. And exhale, coming back through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping the left foot up to the top of the mat. Inhale, warrior 2 or warrior 1 on the left side. And exhale, clear it out with a vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, look forward, lift heels, bend knees. Inhale, step, hop, or float to the top of the mat, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sitting low into our chair pose. And exhale, folding right back down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back through plank or directly jumping through chaturanga to complete our vinyasa and meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping the right foot to the top of the mat, pivoting the back heel down. Inhale, coming up into our warrior one, and we're holding here for 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Take it at your own rhythm. Last one. And on the exhale, opening up into an open hip position for our warrior two pose. Arms extend out in either direction. Hips are open to the left side of the room. We're here for 2 more breaths. On our next inhale, straighten out through that front leg, reaching back for our reverse triangle. And then exhale, shift the hips back as you reach the right arm forward, finding the shin, a block, or the floor, and reaching that left arm up for our triangle pose. You really want to avoid hyperextending this front right knee. So you almost want to think about giving it a slight micro bend where you're still getting a really nice hamstring stretch, but you're not just locking out the knee in order to do so. So it's a nice mix of engagement and stretching. Last breath here, inhale. And on the exhale, we'll square the hips to the top of the mat, walking that back foot in for a nice pyramid pose. Sending the left toes out a little bit less than 45 degrees. Inhale to halfway lift over that front leg. And exhale, folding deeply over it. Feeling a really nice stretch through that entire back of the right leg, especially into the glutes. Surrendering to this pose. Keeping the spine nice and elongated, not rounding over that front leg. You're really sending the forehead to the foot. Inhale, halfway lift, grabbing that block if you need it, and placing it on the inside or the outside of that right foot. Squaring the hips to the mat and slowly beginning to open the chest out towards the right side of the room for our revolved triangle pose. This one gets a lot more into the hips and the glutes on the right side, especially if you keep your alignment. Option to lift that right arm up towards the ceiling or stay in the previous level if you're not quite able to keep your hips square to the mat by taking the full expression. And also, you may experience some wobbles here like me. Just breathing, inhale to lengthen your spine and exhale to twist deeper. Last one, inhale and exhale, coming back down, shifting into a high lunge position, lifting that back heel, bending through that front knee, hips are square to the front of the mat. And on the exhale, you'll slowly shift forward into this warrior one position, option to bring the hands into the heart center for better balance. And then bring your hands to the floor or to 2 blocks to elevate the floor. We're going to take some glute pulses here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale to lift through the chest. And exhale, bring that knee into forehead. Inhale to extend. Exhale, knee to forehead. Last time, inhale to extend. And exhale, knee to forehead. This time, extend that left leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the hips square in a standing splits position. And breathe into that back right leg. We just built some nice heat, and that's going to help us stretch even deeper. Last inhale here, and exhale, step straight back, coming through plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping the left foot up to the top of the mat, pivoting the back heel down. Inhale, squaring the hips forward in this warrior one. And exhale, taking 2 more deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Last one, inhale. And on the exhale, opening up into that warrior 2 position. Hips are open to the right side of the room. Arms extended. Here for 2 more breaths. On the next inhale, straightening that front leg as you reach back in this peaceful triangle or reverse triangle. And exhale, shifting the hips back as you reach forward, once again finding your shin, the floor, or a block, and reaching that right arm up for our triangle pose. Hips are still in that open hip position, keeping a slight micro bend in that front knee so that you can properly engage the back of the left leg while also stretching. We'll take one last breath here. And exhale, bringing the right hand down to the mat, squaring the hips, turning the right foot slightly out towards the right, inhaling over that front leg, and exhale to fold down and over for our pyramid pose. Once again, sending your forehead towards the foot, lengthening the spine, and then folding the chest over the leg. It's okay if you're a little bit more lifted. It's better to do that than to round the spine. You want to keep it nice and straight. Once again, hips square to the front of the room. Inhale to halfway lift. We'll prepare by bringing a block, if necessary, on the inside or the outside of the left foot. Walking that back foot in more if necessary, and opening the chest up towards the left side of the room. Option to extend that left arm up towards the ceiling and gaze up towards the ceiling for our revolved triangle pose. Keeping the hips square towards the mat. Once again, feeling this all throughout the back of that left leg and really into the outer hip and glute. 2 more breaths here. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale to twist deeper. Last one, inhale. And on the exhale, coming through a high lunge, inhale, arms reach up overhead, lifting that back heel, bending through that front knee, and exhale, shifting forward through our warrior 3. Maybe you wobble a little bit, and that's okay. And then we'll grab hold of our blocks or place the hands directly onto the floor. And lifting the chest, we'll pulse through that back right leg for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale to lift the chest even more. And exhale, rounding as you bring the knee towards the forehead. Inhale, extend. And exhale, curl it in. Last one, inhale, extend. And exhale, curl it in. This time extending that right leg up towards the ceiling, keeping the hips square for our standing splits. Option to have both hands planted firmly onto the mat, or to grab a hold of the back of that left shin with the left arm, or with the left hand. Last inhale here. And exhale, stepping back, coming through plank. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a nice pause in downward facing dog before we get into the next sequence. Whew. Hopefully your hamstrings and even your calves are feeling a lot more open than they were at the beginning of the practice. Now we're going to repeat that whole sequence, holding each of the poses for a shorter amount of time and adding in some new ones. On your next inhale, sweep the right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping the right foot up to the top of the mat. Inhale up through warrior one, and exhale, opening into warrior two. Inhale to reverse the triangle, and exhale, shifting forward into our triangle pose. Once again, sending the right arm to the shin, the floor, or a block. Taking an inhale here, and exhaling, coming back to a squared hip position. Preparing with an inhale to fold over that front leg. On our exhale, into our pyramid pose. Holding here for a breath in and a breath out. Our next inhale, we'll halfway lift. And on the exhale, coming into that revolved triangle pose, once again, focusing on keeping the hips square to the mat and twisting through the thoracic or mid to upper spine. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to twist. One more inhale and exhale, coming back down, coming through our high lunge. On our next inhale and exhale, shifting forward into our warrior three. This time, holding for a few breaths. Option, if you're having a hard time balancing, it can help to micro bend into that front leg and then slowly start to straighten it, and you really feel the hamstring turn on there. Both the foot and the hamstring are doing the majority of the work in this pose. And then on our next inhale, we'll slowly shift up to standing. You can do so without tapping the foot on the ground like I did. Even better. And then we'll start to work on building some standing hamstring flexibility. So grabbing a hold of the left toes with the peace fingers, or the outside of the left foot with the whole hand, slowly bringing that knee in towards the chest, and try to start straightening that leg out in front of you, keeping the hips square. It's okay if that front knee is bent a little bit, or the left knee is bent. You just want to try to slowly allow your leg to extend. This will allow for poses like a standing forward fold over a single leg, and even allow you to take it out towards the side for some more advanced poses. But right now we're just right here practicing on keeping that chest and spine lifted while extending that front foot. And then letting go of that front leg and keeping it as extended as you possibly can. And then we'll exhale straight into our standing splits. Taking one more breath here, inhale. And then on the exhale, we'll step back, bringing that left knee to land on the mat. Inhaling up into our low lunge, magnetizing the feet towards one another to stay lifted through the hips. And then exhale, bringing the hands on either side of the leg and slowly shifting the hips back over that left knee, straightening out through the front leg for our half Hanumanasana or half splits. Option to have the blocks here, once again, just if you need them. Inhale to lift the chest up, and exhale, folding over that front leg like we do in pyramid pose. Keeping the chest nice and long, the spine really shifting forward, and the forehead to the foot. Really, really feeling the stretch intensely in our hamstring. Option here, you want to start playing around with a full Hanumanasana or splits pose. Can bend, coming into a lizard lunge, which we practice with in our Spring into Flexibility Class 1 for hip mobility. Bringing the forearms onto the mat if this helps you get deeper into the hips. But you want to try to slowly straighten that front leg and walk the back leg further back. And you can pause at any point here, finding your edge, and just hold it wherever you can. The longer you can hold it in each level of this pose, the more flexible you'll be for the next time. Just want to focus on breathing into the poses. You also want to keep the hips square to the front of the room. None of this, keeping them nice and square. An option, if you're really flexible through your hamstrings, to come into a fold over that front leg. And we'll hold here. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, shifting back through that lunge and stepping back through plank. Taking your vinyasa to meet in down dog. Resetting to begin on the other side. Inhale, left leg sweeps up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping the left foot to the top of the mat. Inhaling up for our warrior one. Exhale to open into warrior two. Inhale, straighten the leg, reach back, reverse triangle. And exhale, shift forward, reaching for the shin, the floor, or block for our triangle pose. We're here for a breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, squaring the hips, preparing to fold into our pyramid pose. Inhale, take a halfway lift to lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold. Once again, keeping the spine long, the chest folded over the leg, and the forehead directed towards the foot. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, grabbing a hold of your block for a revolved triangle pose, keeping the hips square as you open the left arm up towards the ceiling if you can. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to twist deeper. Last inhale, and exhale, coming back down, bending through that front knee, lifting the back heel to inhale up into a high lunge. On the exhale, shifting forward into our warrior three, we'll hold this pose for a count of 3 breaths, flexing through that back foot. Bending a little bit into that knee if necessary to help keep your balance, and slowly begin to straighten out. as you start to build confidence in that hamstring. Last breath here, inhale. And on the exhale, we'll shift up into standing, grabbing a hold of the right toe with the peace fingers or the outside of the right foot with the right hand. Inhale, lifting the chest. And exhale, slowly start to extend that right leg towards straight. Really feeling that hamstring turn on, but also you want to feel that in your quad as well. These two muscles are working together in opposite ways. As you stretch through that hamstring, you're engaging through the quad. Once again, keeping the chest lifted. This will help build that length that you need to fold over that front leg. Or option to open the right leg out towards the right for a balance challenge. Letting go of the front toes and holding that right leg out, extended from the body. And exhale, coming into our standing splits for a nice break. Taking one more inhale. And on the exhale, stepping that back foot into our low lunge. Inhale, magnetizing the feet together to lift through the hips. And exhale, bringing the hands on opposite sides of the foot. Slowly straightening out through that front leg, bringing the hips over the back knee. Inhale to lengthen the chest forward. And exhale to fold into our half Hanumanasana, half splits. Option to stay here or to work towards that full splits by slowly walking the back knee back, going through a lizard. Once again, keeping your hips as square as possible and not going any deeper than where you can keep your hips square to the front of the room. Option to stay upright or to fold over that front leg. And just breathe into the pose to help you lengthen the muscles. Breath is the most important aspect of our flexibility. You'll find that as you start to begin to breathe into these poses, it'll help you to go deeper. Inhale to come back up. And exhale, bend through that front leg, stepping back into plank. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a nice big inhale. And exhale, sigh out through the mouth. On your next inhale, look forward. Lift heels, bend knees. And on the exhale, begin to either walk the feet through the arms, or if you have your jump through, go ahead and take it here. Coming into a seated position and extending the legs out in front. You can move the blocks now that we're done with them. We'll come into a Dadasana Pose. So bringing the chin in towards the chest, but lengthening the spine to sit up straight. This will help prepare us for our cool down poses. Inhale, lifting the head and the chin up. Reaching forward for the feet or for the shins if you're not quite able to reach for the feet yet. Inhaling to lengthen the spine forward, lifting the chest. And exhale, slowly begin to fold the chest towards the legs, but keeping the spine nice and straight, You don't want to round over the legs. We're really trying to focus on keeping that spine straight because that's what's going to help us really strengthen and lengthen those hamstrings and build that flexibility. Option if you want, I think I lied about the blocks, but if you want to grab a hold of a block and bring it behind or to the bottoms of the feet and grab a hold of the block with the hands to pull yourself even more forward. Option if you need to micro bend the knees too to help feel a stretch, but just breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, halfway lift. And on the exhale, coming back up into a seated, we'll go ahead and open that right leg out towards the back of the mat, coming into our straddle position. And keeping the sit bones anchored onto the mat, we'll slowly begin to walk the hands forward. Once again, keeping the spine long, the chest lifted for now. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, slowly start to try to fold forward. Once again, keeping those sit bones anchored into the mat. Even if this means that you need to bring a block to rest your forehead on to help you relax into the pose as you slowly start to build the flexibility needed to come into a full forward fold in this straddle position. Slowly start to walk your hands back in. This time we'll take some side bends to open up the body in different ways. So inhale, facing the right foot, slowly beginning to fold over that right leg, feeling a really, really nice deep stretch through that right hamstring. You can grab a hold of the right leg if you want, or just keep the hands on either side. Option if you want to open through the side body, plant the right forearm on the inside of the pelvis, reaching for up and over the head for that right leg with the left hand. If you can grab a hold of it, that's totally fine. Just want to open the chest up towards the ceiling and feel that length through both sides of the body. Wherever you're at, taking one more breath. And exhale, coming back up to the center, and we'll do the same on the opposite side, either facing towards the left foot and folding over that left leg, or planting the left forearm on the inside of the pelvis and reaching for that left leg with the right arm. Opening the chest towards the ceiling, really feeling the length in both sides of the body. Taking whatever variation feels good in your body today. Taking one more breath here, inhale. And on the exhale, slowly coming out back into center, bringing the legs back in, slowly windshield wipering the knees to loosen up the hips. And we'll prepare for our final relaxation by taking some happy babies. So coming to lie down, grabbing a hold of the bottoms of the feet, pulling the knees in towards you just for a moment. Feeling a really nice release through the hips after all that hamstring work that we did. And then extending the left leg extending the left leg out straight, bringing the right knee in towards the chest. Inhale to prepare, and exhale, keeping the shoulder blades on the mat. Slowly bring the right knee over towards the left side, looking out towards the right arm for a supine twist. Once again, very important that you keep your shoulder blades anchored onto the mat here. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to twist deeper. This pose can be very uncomfortable if you have to use the bathroom. It's a little nugget of TMI information, but class is almost over. Inhale, coming back through center, swapping out the legs, extending that right leg long, bringing the left knee in towards the chest, and exhaling into supine twist on the left side, anchoring those shoulder blades into the mat. Taking our final pose before Savasana. Inhaling back through center, and exhale, extend that left leg to meet the right for our Savasana here. Feeling the effects of all the poses and the stretches that we just completed. Feeling in the body what particular parts feel more open, feel more relaxed, feel more energized. And just allowing the body to rest. Taking nice breaths here, letting the body sink lower and lower into the floor. I invite you to stay in Savasana for at least 2 minutes, but I'm going to end the practice here. Once again, thank you all so much for joining me on this flexibility journey this spring. Tune in next week for class number 3 of this series. We will be building some shoulder and spine flexibility, so hopefully you'll look forward to that. Namaste.